As our country eases out of a pandemic, a lot of new normals in everyday life and in careers, they're expected. And meanwhile, the story of 4 Minneapolis police officers and George Floyd, who died in police custody, that's an example of where contact-free policing could have been used with a new technology. I believe it's called BolaWrap. We'll show you. It's a non-lethal weapon and that is used as a kind of remote handcuffs, if you will. Former police officers designed this lasso-like tool to ensnare the target's limbs without causing any serious harm. Well, today we have the president of Wrap Technologies to talk about this device, Tom Smith. He was also the co-founder of Taser. We also welcome back Victoria and Tom. Tom Smith, this question to you. Explain, this is the first time I'm seeing this. What is it?
So it's a remote restraint device. So think of throwing handcuffs on somebody from a distance. So it fires out an 8-foot Kevlar tether that will wrap around the subject's arms or legs, kind of like Spider-Man or Batman did in the movies. And we don't put any electricity or any chemical in the body. It's simply restraining them so that they can't flee or they can't run or kick or fight, and give that officer the opportunity to maintain a distance of 10 to 25 feet with our product and control them without hurting them.
Tom Smith, so how many, is anyone on board with this yet? Is it being implemented anywhere?
Oh, yes. We have LAPD has them on the streets right now and are actually having field uses in Sacramento. As a matter of fact, Minneapolis is testing them for several months now. So is West Palm Beach. We have 150 agencies in the United States and 19 countries around the world already testing or implementing our technology.
Tom Smith, that's interesting you bring up Minneapolis because we're thinking about what just happened, the travesty in that area. If they had this kind of technology there already implemented, you know, it's easy to, you know, hindsight is 20/20, but I imagine you wouldn't need the type of restraint these officers put on. It was never needed like that, just to put that out there. But if you had this kind of technology, this would have changed so much.
Yeah, as you said, it's a horrific event. It's just tragic. Our heart goes out to them, and that's why we're in this space. We're making technology like the BolaWrap to give the officers that ability to stand off, especially because policing has completely changed now with this pandemic, where they do have to stay at a distance as much as they can. They have to try and control people without hurting them. It's a completely different environment than it was just a couple of months ago, and that's why we're developing technology such as BolaWrap, giving them that ability to not have to hurt them, restrain them remotely, and end them and get them help that they need.
Tom Basile, I don't know if you could see the video, but it does look like that bat gun that's used in the movies. It wraps right around the suspect.
Yeah, look, these types of innovations are good, and especially what I like to hear what Tom just said is that it was designed by police officers. And you know, when we talk about public policy related to policing, it's so important to ensure that the officer's point of view, people who understand what it is to be in that moment, to have to make that split decision, that is what is taken into account when you're designing a new type of apparatus or a new policy or a new procedure. And it seems like this is one of these things that could be very useful, and also post-pandemic or not, it may make a lot of sense.
Well, that brings to the next point, Victoria. You're trying to keep your hands off of people. You're trying to social distance. This also applies in law enforcement. It's not always possible. We always know that, but this may change the game because you won't have to, in most instances, get right on top of these suspects.
Sounds like this was a good idea without a pandemic. I mean, just think of the various things that come along, like when it was AIDS, and people were all concerned because no one knew how you really got it. My hat's off to these guys, but I want you to do a segment in about a month or two and talk to some of the officers who are using it, and let's find out the pros and the cons. It'd be very interesting.
I love it. I think that's a great idea. We should really, I mean, this could change a lot of policing. It'd be interesting to hear other authorities and what they think about it, too. Tom Smith, thank you so much for joining us and sharing that. That is very interesting stuff to think of looking in the future and going forward. Also joining us today, Victoria Tonsing, Tom Basile. Guys, stick around. We're going to see you after the break. Thank you both.